All right. Welcome everybody to another live stream. Tonight is part two of knowing what you're worth, get paid what you're worth in the marketplace. This is a live that is a part two that I'm going to be sharing tonight from my guide, how you can get paid what you are worth. And so we're going to give everybody the opportunity to jump into the live. Um, on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We want to welcome everybody to our podcast as well. I'm going to pin, just like normal, I will pin my email address in the chat. So if you want to email me or if you want to send me your resume to review, I'll be happy to do that. If you need resources, you can always click the profile, link in my profile, and grab yourself anything that you need to help your career. That's what this is all about. This is about me giving you guys an inside look into how talent acquisition and human resources thinks when we're trying to hire people like you. That's what this is all about. I am an advocate for the candidate. Okay. The real Larry Beard says, thank you so much for all the gems you dropped. You are very welcome. I am going to continue to do that. Period. Because I want to support you guys in your career. I want you to have all of the inside information into how you can get a job fast. I want you to know that you are really the ones who are in control of the process. You are. And I know employers want you to think that they are, but you are the ones that are really in control of the process. The real Larry Beard says, you helped me land a job in this last week. Thank you so much for sharing that information. Those are the kind of testimonies that I want to hear. I want to hear that I'm helping you guys. And I get these testimonies every single day from people who are giving me an update about they moved on to the second part of the process or the third part of the process, or now they're in the offer and they've got 15% more in pay. Or, they're getting paid what they're worth. They're walking in with more confidence because you are armed, you are equipped with the right information. I mean, imagine that. And I'm just going to be real with you guys about something. I've never shared this on a live before, any one of my videos. As a talent acquisition manager, as a leader, senior manager in talent acquisition, I know how to pull your strings as a candidate. I know how to get you to apply to jobs, accept jobs. I know how to do all of those things. And it's not manipulation. I am leaning into what it is I know what you as a candidate want. Okay. And so that's why my interview to hire ratio was so high. That's why we get so many people applying to the jobs that we post, because I understand you. 100% understand you. I know what you want, what you need, what you desire in terms of your professional career. So when I talk to candidates across the country, I know exactly what to say. I know what questions to ask you and what response I'm looking for. And based on your response, I can tell you how if we're going to move left, right, up, down. I can tell you that, right? Now, I was feeding that information to hiring managers. Okay. And those hiring managers were that armed with that information was using that information to ask you questions and get you hired. In fact, I am the one that created, in most of the organizations that I work for, the standard interview guide. Okay. I created that. So the questions that you are being asked in your interview, I was sharing those questions with the hiring managers to ask you and explaining to them what it means when you get this kind of answer, that kind of answer, right? So, what is my mission now? What is my goal now? My goal is to advocate for you because here's what I know about corporate America. No one is looking out for you. They are not. They are not interested in your mega success. And you can work very, very hard for an organization, very hard. Now, I want you to listen to me. Before I share this, I want you guys to share this live with as many of your friends as possible. Okay? Click the screen, tap the heart likes on Instagram and TikTok so this can be spread broad and wide. Okay? Because what I'm going to be sharing with you tonight is going to help a lot of people. Okay? It's going to help a lot of people. And I'm going to ask it now just twice during my lives. If you want, if anything I say helps you in any way to be more knowledgeable, in a better position, to get a job, I would love it. I would be thankful if you click the link in my profile and just donated $10. So check this out. So no one is going to advocate for you. They are not doing it. You can be the best worker in the entire company, the most productive. Listen carefully. And someone above you and above them makes a mistake in the organization that causes them to have a reduction in workforce, and you can be laid off, not because you're not a good worker, not because you're not a good for the team, but somebody else made a mistake that caused the company to not be as profitable, and now they got to get rid of your position. Okay? You can be the best, most productive worker in the organization and still be laid off. And you're thinking that you are doing everything right and still get laid off. I have on 3 occasions received, I was part of a reduction in force twice because I worked myself out of a job. I recruited too good. I was just too good a recruiter. Okay. And so they didn't need someone at my level anymore because I had gotten the company to a place where staffing was stable. So all of that hard work I did, right? What did I get from it? A severance package, a thank you note. So why do I do this? Because I know this is how organizations work, and I understand that, and I want you to protect yourself and your family by making sure that you are putting yourself in the best position possible to make sure you're taken care of. Because no one is going to advocate for you. You are on your own. It's a whole company and hiring managers and CFOs, CEOs, directors against you. Right? You're joining the team. They're already part of it. And all of those individuals are trying to make sure you are the right person for this particular job. So it's very important for you guys to understand that you have to look out for yourself. No one is going to advocate for you. In my role, I advocate for the candidate because I understand the importance of the position that is needed within the organization. I understand that. So I advocate for the candidate, coach the hiring managers to make the decisions the right way for the right candidate, and I give them the reasons why. But I want you to understand, no one is going to advocate for you. They're not. You are on your own. Okay? So 72 Jedi says, Daniel, I sent over the resume for you to look over. You're awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you doing that. Yeah, if you have a resume and you want me to review it, how do you know something is wrong with your resume? You are applying to jobs, but you're not getting any kind of a response, or you're applying to a bunch of jobs and everybody's telling you they've decided to select somebody else without even giving you a phone screen, right? That's because your resume is not appealing to the recruiter. What do I mean by appealing? It is very hard to see your area or level of expertise when they take a quick look at your resume. So my resume guide solves that problem for you. Okay? When a hiring manager or recruiter looks at your resume, within the first 10 to 30 seconds, they want to automatically be able to see what you are an expert at, not what you have done, right? They want to make sure you're an expert at it. So 72 Jedi says, I'm 52, maybe age. Age has nothing to do with it. I'm telling you that there may be some people who are fearful of age, but there's really only one or two reasons why. One, Jedi, if you're 52 years old and you have 20 years experience, the concern of hiring managers is you have more experience than they need. So if they hire you and something better comes along, you're going to leave. That's the reason why a lot of employers are afraid to hire someone who is more experienced. That's one of the main reasons why. They would love to hire you if they had a crystal ball and they knew you would be there for the next 10 years, they will hire you on the spot because they know that you are what I call a plug and play solution, that you can walk right into the organization and start contributing immediately. Younger, less experienced candidates can't do that. It takes time to train them. Mahadev says, where are you from? I'm from the United States. I'm in Texas. In fact, in the chat, let me know where you are watching from. That would be awesome. So 72 Jedi says makes sense. Okay, so let's talk about this. So I created a guide, and I'm sharing from this guide that I created. It's in my store. If you click the link on my bio, how to get paid what you are worth. Thank you for watching from India. I appreciate it. How to get paid what you're worth. Okay. This is a big issue for you, for candidates, because you don't know. How do I know you don't know? Because I talk to thousands upon thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of candidates, and most of them have no idea about how to determine what they're worth. Okay. So Friday is watching from Canada. Thank you so much for watching from Canada. I appreciate that. Let me know where you're watching from in the chat. Okay. So most candidates have no idea how to determine what they're worth. How do companies determine what you're worth? Okay. That's what you need to know. Because if you know how companies determine what you are worth, and you can make that calculation before you go into an interview, you will never, ever, and I mean never, ever, be lowballed. Ever, ever. Watching from Moncton, Canada. Thank you so much for watching from Canada, ELM. I appreciate that. California, Jedi. 72 Jedi is watching from California. So that's awesome. So what standard do companies use to determine pay? Like, how do they come up with this pay range? How do they determine that? Okay. How do they determine pay range? Watching from Chicago, watching from Chicago, Williams, Tina watching from Chicago. Maha says, I have a question. How long a gap can affect in the corporate world? So I tell people this. The time the gap in your employment is really not that big of an issue. A lot of people think if they've been out of work for a while, it's going to be an issue. It's not. It's the reason why the gap is there. And I did a video on this. Okay. Hello from Memphis, Tennessee. VP. I'm the VP manager for Blue City Brewery. You're spot on, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for confirming that. So the gap in employment really does not matter. Employers don't really care about that. Okay. What do they care about? Why the gap is there. That's what they care about. Why are you off? Now, here's what happens when somebody has a gap in employment. This is how I frame it. Watching from Chicago, Valencia. I'll ask a candidate, well, I see you've been out of work for 6 months. Are you rich? That's what I'll say. Oh, you must be rich. That's how I'll ask it. Now, I'm doing it because I want candidates to understand. I ask it that way because I want them to understand. I'm not attacking you for your gap in employment. I just want to understand why it's there so I can make sure that I tell the hiring manager a good reason why it's there. So I'll ask the question. I see you have a 6-month gap in your employment, or you've been out of work for a year. Are you rich? Right? Meaning you don't have to work. Did you run out of money? Right? So they'll tell me why there is a gap in their employment. And usually it's a legitimate reason. Couldn't find a job. I was injured or sick, had to take care of an ailing family member, whatever, right? There's a bunch of reasons that are great reasons. You shouldn't fear gap in employment, okay? Because I've answered it. How do you answer it? Why is there a gap in your employment? One of the things you can say if you have a gap in your employment is this. Well, I have a gap in my employment. I have been interviewing. I have been, dating or, courting some companies, but I have not found the right company I want to work for until now. That's why there's a gap in my employment. That's why. It's not because I couldn't work. It's not because I didn't want to work. It's because I just want to make sure I marry myself to the right company. And I think I found that in this company. Okay. And so that's how you answer the question about gaps in employment. Employers don't really care about that unless it's some reason like, yeah, I just decided to go live in my car. I made enough money and I decided to go live in my car. And now I need to make more money to go whatever, right? It's just some silly reason. Then that's not necessarily a silly reason, but some reason like that. But gaps in employment are fine. They don't care. Okay, they don't care. You could even say, well, I took time off to start a business. It didn't work out, learned a lot of lessons. Now I want to take everything that I've learned and apply it to the corporate world again so that you and your team can benefit from everything that I've learned, right? It's a lot of reasons why. But I always make sure I flush out that answer before I submit you to the hiring manager. And I do that by asking, okay, I see there's a gap in your employment. Are you rich? And that usually loosens things up and the person tells me what's going on. Your recruiter, your talent acquisition pro should advocate for you. Now, many of them will not because they haven't been trained to. Okay? They should be your advocate. They should be walking you into a favorable situation for you and a favorable situation for the hiring manager. As a talent acquisition pro, we do not throw people up against the wall to see who is going to stick. That is a complete waste of people's time. And I don't do it. And if anyone on my team does it, it's not going to work out well for them. We are precision based pros. We are trying to find great candidates who match exactly what we need inside of our organization. Okay? So, again, no one's going to advocate for you. You have to make sure that you're advocating for yourself. Okay? How do companies determine pay? How do they determine pay? Okay? So, a couple things you need to understand. The largest expense, Picante, I'll answer that question here in just a second. The largest expense for any company is salary, staff salary, people, and all of the things that are associated with it. Your salary, the matching taxes, all of the benefits, there is a cost associated with it. So if you're somebody who is making $100,000 a year, your taxes have to be matched, your benefits have to be paid for, your office space and equipment has to be taken care of. You might be, the expense on somebody like you might be somewhere around $150,000 as a $100,000 employee. Okay? And you need to understand that. So, because it is the greatest expense for a company, many companies are very careful when it comes to hiring, which is why it seems like they are so critical. Okay. So Piacante says, what should I say when they ask me why I left my other job? I advise people to say it like this. Hey, so why did you leave your last job? Well, I left my last job because my goals and my goals and my what word am I trying to use here? My goals are no longer aligned with this company, and my goals and values. I'm sorry, that's what I meant to say. My goals and my values are no longer aligned with the company that I am leaving. They are more in line with the values of this company. I've taken a look at your vision, mission, core values, and my values are more in line with this company than that company. That's why I'm leaving. That is an acceptable reason why a person can leave a company. And you can say a bunch of different things, but do everything you can to not be negative. You don't say things like, well, I didn't like my manager or they were disrespectful or whatever, any of those kinds of things, because it causes them to start asking you questions that can be problematic for you. My goals and my values are no longer aligned with the company that I'm working with or I just left. So I thought it would be best that we parted ways. I find that my values and my goals are more in line with this company. How you guys take care of customers, how you guys care for your employees, all of those things. Those are the things that are most important to me, and that's why I'm sitting here. So Bharat says, MAHA says, you left your job in 2021. Since then, I have changed my work area as I have joined the school. Now I want to go back to corporate. So again, these things used to be frowned upon many, many years ago, but going from industry to industry, from job to job is not that big a deal anymore. The average person, many, many years ago would stay with the company for 10, 12, 15 years. That is not as common nowadays. What we look for is 2 years experience. And so I'll tell my staff, we're looking for candidates. Stability to us looks like this: a person who has had no more than 2 jobs in the last 5 years. That's what stability looks like. So if you've been with the company for 2.5 years, right? Let's say 2 jobs in the last 5 years. To us, that's like you've been with that company for 15 years. You are a stable person, right? That's how we look at it. And nobody's going to tell you that. Okay. Now, likewise, if you have had a job every 3 months for the past 3 years and you quit those jobs every 3 months for the last 3 years, and that's what we see on your resume, well, you're not going to get a chance to talk to a hiring manager. And that's just the truth, right? For a good company with stable employment, because their hiring managers are looking to bring people on that's going to be there for at least 2 years to be a contributor. Well, why is that, Dan? I'm going to explain it to you. It takes, for a seasoned professional, I'm talking about somebody who has 10 years or more experience, it takes about 30 days to get them, 30 to 60 days to get them ramped and acclimated to the new job before they can become productive contributors. Okay. Anywhere from 30 to 60 days. They are rocking and rolling. For a person who has about 4 to 6 years experience, it may take a little longer, 60 to 120 days, right? For a brand new and inexperienced person, it could be 6 months to a year before we really know whether or not that person can do the job without somebody holding their hands. So a person who has been on a job for at least 2 years or 2.5 years at a time, that's good. That is what we really, really are looking for. That's what you need to understand, how your resume needs to be positioned. And if you need help positioning your resume that way, email me. I'll tell you exactly how to do it. Short Bomb says, thank you so much for your, appreciate your words. Thank you so much for that compliment. You're welcome. I have 34 years of experience. Yeah, I've been working in this industry for the past 35 years. And if I go to another company, I can walk into an organization and within 90 days turn the entire talent acquisition department around. There is no challenge in talent acquisition now at 35 years in the business, in the industry. No challenge that I have not seen or had to resolve. I'm talking about whether it's hiring 2,000 people, 1,000 people, hiring specialty people, doctors or lawyers, whoever, it doesn't matter to me. I know where to find, I know where you are, I know how to find you, and I know how to attract you to the company that I'm representing. I know how to do that. So that's not an issue for me at all, right? But for a new person, a person who is just getting into the talent acquisition or HR field, or someone who is just getting into the field of accounting or whatever it is, there is a little bit longer time to get ramped up and for them to learn. I celebrated 6 months with a new company as a diesel tech. Congratulations. Andrew says, I asked for 25 an hour, but they offered me less. What could I have done to increase the wages? Okay, Andrew, answer this question for me. How much? Okay, 2 questions. What was the pay range posted or that was discussed, and how much experience you have in years in whatever job you're trying to do? I want to know those answers, and I'll tell you what you could have done differently. 72 Jedi said, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you as well. Thank you so much for, again, watching and for your support. And guys, I would love it if you would support. If you want to donate $10, please feel free to click the link in my profile and just give. Okay. So Andrew says I have 10 years experience as a diesel tech, and I applied for a job through word of mouth. What was the pay range for the position? Let me know what that is, and I'll tell you where you went wrong. Why they offered you less. Okay. So again, we talked about the largest expense in an organization is their salaries. How do we determine? Okay, so that's the issue right there, Andrew. You said, honestly, you don't know, but I knew their problem and I knew I was a good fit. You knew the problem they needed to have solved, but you didn't know what they were willing to pay for the position. And there is a way for you to know, so you don't take this the wrong way. So that as a candidate, it doesn't look like you're putting your foot in your mouth when you ask for $25 an hour. Okay. There's a guide that I have in my store called What You Should Know Before You Go. It's also tied closely to what I'm sharing tonight, how to get paid what you're worth. So Andrew, I want you to listen to me very carefully. Everybody, I want you to listen to me very carefully. This is how we determine what we are going to pay people. This is how we determine pay ranges. Those pay ranges that you see that are posted for the company that I work with, I am the one that puts that information up there. And it's not some arbitrary number, low, medium, high. It is a very specific range. How do we determine that? Number one, and you need to do the exact same thing because you can do the same thing. Okay? If you get my guide, how to get paid what you're worth, it's going to tell you what I'm about to share with you right now in more details. One, I do a market salary survey on, I'm going to use Andrew as an example, on Diesel Techs. Okay, a market survey. I look at all of the different companies who are posting and hiring positions like our company is for Diesel Tech, and I look at the average low and high pay range. Okay, and we want to make sure that we're somewhere there. All right, so that's number one. Number two, once we have come up with some sort of range that we believe will be a good fit to catch a diesel mechanic fish, what we do is we talk about the salary inside of the organization. Will this be a fit? Like, who do we have in the organization that's making this? How you doing, Natasha? Who do we have that's making the medium, low, and high? So let's say our top producer, most experienced person is at the high range, and we have a person that's just getting into the job. We like them, and we hired them 6 months ago. They're at the low end of the range. We know then that we are on the right track, because we want to make sure that what we find in the market in terms of pay and what other companies are paying is in line with pay equity within our organization. Okay? Once we have made that determination, we make an agreement that we are looking for candidates 2, 6, 10. 2 years of experience, 0 to 2 years experience, 4 to 6 years experience, 8 to 12 years experience, 10 years experience. That's what we look at. And we determine the bottom line number for a candidate who has to be a superstar with 0 experience. This is the max they can make, right? And a medium, same thing. High, the same. We will not go above this amount. Okay, now this is information that is already on the internet. You can go find it now. How do you find it? Google the pay for your position in your area. So if I moved to California, I would type into Google, Glassdoor, Indeed, what is the average pay for a talent acquisition manager, director, VP, whatever, a talent acquisition manager, director, VP in Southern California. And Google, Glassdoor, and Indeed will run a query like they do, and they will spit back some numbers. And I'll look through all of the information that is sent back to me, and I will find myself in whatever that range is. So let's say it says $100,000 to $160,000. I would look at the $160,000 and say, okay, this is a talent acquisition manager, maybe in IT or engineering. I don't want to do that. On the low end, let's say it's $100,000, and that's a person who's a talent acquisition manager in a medium-sized organization or production and manufacturing or warehousing, whatever. Okay, I've done that. I can do that with my eyes closed. And let's say it says the middle range, $135,000, $140,000 is a person who is a TA manager doing medical hiring. Well, I've done that. Do that now, right? So I have found myself in that $125 to $140,000 range with 30 years experience. That's where I will be. So when I walk into an interview, I know exactly what they can offer me. I know before I even walk into the door, I already know. Now, what do I do with candidates? So let's say I was interviewing you, Andrew. What I do is I ask you this question: what's the least amount you're willing to accept? So you would say to me, man, I'm willing to accept $25 an hour. And I would say, Andrew, we're not paying 25 for this job, bro. We're not paying that. This job's max pay is 22. Are you okay with that? And how can you justify 20? Where's 25 coming from? You have to have some sort of information to back it up. And that information, if you get my guide, it'll tell you these are the sources I've gotten the information from, and they are the exact same sources that talent acquisition managers use, human resources use, same ones. But you don't know it because nobody's telling you that. And you think that there's some number we pull out of the sky. Many people think there's some number that we pull out of the sky to create a range. No, we're looking at all of the companies, comparing to all of the companies that are around, and we want to make sure that we're somewhere in the middle or at the top or whatever. Now, why do we do that? Because what I know is if you come to work for us and our competitor down the street who is vying for the same customers is paying more, much more than us, there is a chance that you're going to leave and go work for that company because you're doing the same thing. So companies are always doing salary surveys to make sure that they're competitive. And that's just a way that you want to make sure you're taking care of yourself. So Natasha says, what do you do when the hiring manager wants to interview you, but the position is temp to hire? Well, temp to hire simply means contract to hire or a probationary period to hire. If you're working through a staffing agency and the hiring manager wants to interview you, usually that means it is a contract to hire type position, and they're trying to find a person who is going to be permanent, somebody they can transition from a staffing agency or attempt to hire position to a full-time position. In the company that I work for, we hire what we call seasonal to core employees. Seasonal for 3 to 6 months until a core position opens up for the top candidates, and then we can slide them into a core position. So it's just a probationary period, kind of a position without benefits. And the hiring manager wants to interview you because it is really a temp to hire position. They want to hire you after the temporary contract terms are fulfilled with the staffing agency. That's why. So go on, interview with them and blow them away. Use all the answers that I'm giving you, and you should be good to go. Okay? Okay, so hiring manager wants to interview a candidate for a position, but it's temp to hire. So I've answered that question for you already, and I want to make sure I'm going to get to everybody's question if I can. On Instagram, there's a little question mark button down there. You can go ahead and click that as well. Okay, thanks, but they are not obligated to hire you. Okay, so Natasha, let me ask you a question. Is it through a staffing agency or not? Is it through a staffing agency? Because I want to share something with you that might shock you. Okay, so it's contract to hire inside the organization. It's a try before you buy. So let me explain something to you. You can get hired full-time permanent with that organization, and they can still terminate you in 90 days, especially if you are in a right to work state. So how do you make a determination? So for you, Natasha, I can tell that the most important thing to you is job security. I can tell that's what you're interested in. That's why this temp to hire thing doesn't sit right with you. Please tell me if I'm correct. Job security. You're afraid that if it's a temp position, they can get rid of you at any time. But I want you to know something. They can get rid of you at any time if they want to anyway. Okay. So if you are going to be in a temp to hire position, contract to hire, we call it seasonal to core, take the opportunity if it pays what you're worth and prove to them that they cannot live without you. And that is what seemingly creates job security for you. Okay. Just prove to them, yeah, I'm the right person. Okay. So now the reason why companies do that is because usually in our organization, when we hire a person, that person is eligible for benefits on day 31. So that's a capital expense. Now we talked about this. That's a capital expense that the company has to front for you as an employee, and they really don't know if you're going to work out. So a lot of companies don't want to continue to offer those benefits and things to individuals. So they give you what they call a contract to hire position first, a try before you buy. And then if they bring you on after 90 days, it takes another 30 days for you to get your medical benefits in. You've already proven and created enough revenue for the company that, or supported somebody who can create enough revenue for the company where it makes sense for them to bring you on. So Natasha says, you're right, I got it. Good. So if the position is paying what you're worth for your skill, experience, and background, and to solve the problem that they need you to solve, take it. Now here's the cool thing, Natasha. Natasha, here's the cool thing. They are looking at you, but you could be looking at them too. And if you're skilled, keep your options open. Keep your options open. Okay, that's what I would recommend. And I hope that helps you. Okay, so I've told you that you have to advocate for yourself. You should never, ever walk into a job interview. Never for the rest of your life. Never, ever walk into a job interview and not know what you are worth. If they lowball you, you can come back and say, well, I have in my possession a salary survey for this market and my position, and the range that other companies are paying is this. Is that something you guys are willing to do? And they may say no. Okay, great. Now you know they don't value you the way that you want to be valued, and you keep it moving. That's how it works. Okay? But if you don't advocate for yourself, no one will. It's just not going to happen. And that's the honest to God truth. Okay? You need to, this guy will tell you as well how to know what you get paid, what you're worth. You got to understand the industry that you're interviewing in. Okay? So if it's tech, medical, manufacturing, if it's logistics, whatever it is, you have to know what that is. A talent acquisition manager in the medical field makes more than a talent acquisition manager who's working in the temporary agency field or some other organization. Okay? Because the demand to get the positions filled and the demand for a person who is skilled in that area is higher. The supply for sharpshooter talent acquisition professionals in the medical field is not as readily available as some of the other unskilled or lower skilled labor type positions. You got to know that. You have to know that. Then we talked about earlier, you got to know where the market. California ain't paying, Texas ain't paying what California pays. Okay? Texas may not be paying what Louisiana is paying. And you have to know that. Now, why am I saying that? So when you say self-evaluation, Andrew, tell me what you mean. I want to make sure I understand what you mean so I can give you, I can talk to you, talk about self-evaluation. So whenever I worked in the staffing agency world and I was hiring people across the country and hiring managers would ask me about pay, I would do a survey in their market and I would tell them exactly what the average pay range is in their market and then get them agree to a range or a number, and that's how we hire people. And you could do the exact same thing. Okay, so Andrew says, last week I was given a form to fill out to rate myself as self-evaluation. I then turned that evaluation in and the management rated it based on their opinion. Okay, so why do managers give you a self-eval? They ask you to rate yourself. Like, what do they expect you to say? Everybody is going to say they're a 10, and everybody's not a 10. Okay, well, what are they trying to do? Why are they even asking that dumb question? Okay, they're trying to get inside of your head to see if your thought of yourself is too inflated. Okay, based on your skills, based on your experience, is your head too big? Okay, so how should you rate yourself? You should rate yourself, and I'm just going to say it in a roundabout way, then I'll be very specific. You should rate yourself as whatever number you decide to give yourself. I am a 10 at this. I'm a 10 at helping sure my manager, my team, and the company that I work for gets 100% of me so they can be successful. Okay? That's how I am a hardworking, go-getting team player who is going to help the company grow. Now, what most people will do is they'll talk about how cool they are, how smart they are, how educated they are, right? That's what they want to how much of an expert they are in so and so area. And the truth is, they don't know you, so they don't care about that yet. Okay? So you should never lead with that. You should always lead with, I am the kind of person who is eager to join a team so that I can help that team be number one in the marketplace, in the store. Avoid talking about yourself. Avoid boosting yourself up because, and this is the truth, some hiring managers will look at that information and become intimidated. Who does he think he is? I'm the best mechanic in the city. Okay? So I hope that helps you, Andrew. All right. All right. So Natasha says, I was offered a position as a training manager. Okay. I see that. The pay is not what I want, but it's a great company where I can move up. It is crazy. Is it crazy to accept the offer just to get your foot in the door to move up? Okay, I'm gonna work backwards here. You may never move up, ever. So don't even think about it. Okay? That's first. Okay? Should you get your foot in the door? Yes. If you need to take an offer to get your foot in the door so you can show how talented and productive you are, great. Now the hope is someone will recognize your talent and gifts and abilities and problem solving abilities and offer you an opportunity to do more. More means a promotion, more money. They'll offer you to do more because they see that you have the capacity to handle more than what you have on your plate. Okay? But don't join a company under the thought that this company is big and I can work my way up. It ain't happening. That's not how it works. It doesn't work like that. Managers are going to promote who they want to promote. And you will be frustrated when they don't pick you. And I'm just giving it to you just like it is. let me give you a little story. 5 seconds, I promise. There's a person on my team who my manager wished she could have, my old manager wished she could have fired. Okay. But the CEO of the company who interviewed and hired me wouldn't allow her to fire this talent acquisition specialist. So when I got to the company, my manager was trying to not allow this person to report directly to me. So I asked the CEO, you said everybody that's in talent acquisition will be reporting to me. Is this person supposed to be reporting to me? Because I heard something different from my manager. And he says, absolutely. So he went and talked to my manager and told my manager, yes, everybody, including this person, will be reporting to Daniel. And then he told me, I've heard some negative things about her, but I want you to evaluate her and give me your opinion. And I said, okay, I'll do that. Turns out she was the best person on the team. The best, the hardest working, the most loyal, the one who can follow my instructions and do things exactly the way I was telling her to do to get the results. She was awesome. And my manager, before I got there, wanted to get rid of her. What's my point? Don't go into these organizations thinking you are going to move all the way up to the C-suite. Go in, do your job, do what you got to do, take care of you and your family, make sure it happens, and pray to God that things work out in your favor. Because if the manager above you does something wrong and they have to do a reduction in force, you might be caught up in that reduction in force and you might feel horrible after having given all your time and energy into trying to help this company grow. It don't work like that. And that's just the truth. From an experienced talent acquisition manager who is in the industry, I want you to win. And you need to understand how the game is played. It's hard to get in with this company. So this will give me a foot in the door. Get your foot in the door. Do what you got to do. Work the hours you got to work. Take advantage of what you need to take advantage of. You've already proven to them you can make things happen. So make things happen. If you are not following me and this content is helpful to you, I would really appreciate you following me. We're at 175, almost 180,000 on TikTok. And we're almost at 100,000 on Instagram. I really appreciate you guys if you follow me. I just want to continue to give out as much information to the community as possible about how you can win in your career. Okay? Right Touch says that was fire. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I just want to give you guys the true game. Understand the truth. All right? So, know the market. Know your job. You got to know your job. People always ask me, well, what if I don't know what kind of problem I solve? Well, you should know what kind of problem your position solves. Okay? Because a customer service job in one company that solves the customer service problems is the customer service job in another company does the same thing. The problem you solve is making sure the customers are taken care of and continue to come back. You should know the pay range. We talked about that. You got to do these salary surveys. And if you get the guy to show you more in detail about how to do that, it takes you 5 seconds. You'll know in 5 seconds what the average range is. Know your skill level. Let's get back to you, Andrew. Andrew, you were talking about, you were asking for $25 an hour, and you have 10 years experience. In your area, does a person with 10 years experience as a diesel mechanic, diesel tech, do they make $25 an hour? Now, if the answer to that question is yes, and the company is trying to lowball you, it's because they're trying to take advantage of you needing a job potentially, right? That's not a company you want to work for. If it is not a win-win situation, meaning they're getting all of your skill, experience, education, and background in return for them giving you the maximum pay for your skill, experience, education, and background, don't take the job. If you do take the job, keep looking. Now, you're hearing that from a TA manager. I tell candidates that too. Keep looking until you land a place that aligns your skill, experience, education, and background with the money that's coming out of their bank account. Do you understand? That's how you should do it. Candidates will come to me and they will lowball themselves, and I will say to them, no, I'm sorry. I know you only want 16 an hour, but this position starts at 18 an hour. So I'm going to tell them that your least amount is 18.50. Okay? Or whatever that number is. I'm going to tell them, I know you want 50,000 a year, but this position pays 60. I'm going to tell them your least amount is 62. Okay? Why am I doing that? Because I know that the company will reach up to that. Number two, I know that I'm doing you a service, and if you get to 62 and you want it 50, you're going to stick around longer. Okay? So that's how it works, and you need to know that for yourself. Know your experience. You are being paid based on your skill, that's your ability to do the job. Experience is how long you've been doing the job. That speaks to your expertise. Mr. Everything, everything says 100. Yes. I'm giving you the truth, the whole truth, and no nothing but the truth, so help me God. You got to know that your skill is one thing. So you might go to college and obtain a skill by getting your bachelor's degree in an area, but you have zero experience, right? So the only thing you bring to the table is the skill that you learned. But skill combined with experience equals pay. Skill plus experience equals pay. Skill plus more experience equals pay. I will not take pay for a recruiter who has been doing it for 5 years. I can do the work of 10 recruiters. So I demand a company to pay me what that is worth, right? I don't care what kind of position it is. If you want my 10x skill coupled with my 30 years experience, then you will pay for it. That's it. And that's how you need to do. You need to advocate for yourself in that way. Know where your experience falls in the range. Don't just let them give you what they're going to give you. And finally, before I end this live, you got to know how your education impacts the bottom line. Which is more important, education or experience? Would you take a person who has a 4-year degree over a person who has been doing the actual job for 4 years? Well, people value that differently, right? Ideally, you would like to have somebody who has a 4-year degree with 4 years experience, but that ain't always the case. Lead with what is most valuable. If you just graduated from college, you learn this skill, you have the youth on your side to kind of make things happen, grow, learn, make things happen. That's your value. If you've been doing it for 4 years, then you need to walk in and say, listen to me, I can start solving the problem for you tomorrow. You don't have to train me on much. I've already worked these systems. I've already worked in this applicant tracking system, and I know these forms and HR policies and procedures, and I know the legalities behind this, and I know what to ask candidates, and I know all of the job board, the tools and how to use them and how to post positions and manage applicant tracking systems and take care of hiring managers. I already know how to do all that. I am the guy that can walk in tomorrow and turn this entire department around. What is that worth to you? What is that worth to you? And you have to put companies in a position to pay you what you're worth, because you are the one that's really in control. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget that. If anything I have said tonight blessed you, helped you, I'm going to ask you to please click the link in my profile and donate $10. That's it. Everybody can, give $10. If I have said anything that has helped you, if I've answered a question for you, or I've answered somebody else's question, but it answered a question for you, please donate, help support what I'm doing so that I can spread the word and continue to spread the word. Share this content with all of your friends and family members. I want you to get the job you want fast. If you have a resume and you want me to review it, send it to me, email it to me, coachdanielsmiley@gmail.com. I will review it for free. I review tons of resumes every single day, and I respond to every single one of them. I'm the one that's responding. I would appreciate that. If you need help in any way with respect to your career, you're trying to change careers, get an interview, you got an interview coming up, there's a ton of resources, a whole ton of resources that I have in my store. How to negotiate pay, fastest way to find a job, what you should know before you go, how to get what you're worth. All of that's in the store. You can just click and grab it. Once you pay for it, you download it, and you'll have it in your possession right at that moment. If you need a more in-depth conversation, you can click to book a one-on-one with me. Pay for your one-on-one. I'll reach out to you and schedule time. I will give you my undivided attention, face-to-face on video, if that's what you're okay with. And I will solve every problem you have about, oh, I don't know what they're going to ask in an interview. I will tell you what they're going to ask for an interview. What should I ask for pay? I will tell you what to ask. I'll give you every answer you could ever imagine. I do that every single day for clients, every single day. So if you want to book a one-on-one with me, you can go in and do that as well. At the end of the day, I want you to win in your interview so you can get the job you want faster. And like I say, at the end of every single live, I will spend the rest of my life helping you get to the next level in yours. Leave me a comment on the post. Let me know that you were watching live, and I will talk to you again next time. Take care.